Chelsea have agreed a deal to sign Pedro Neto from Wolves for around €60 million, and in this video we are going to be discussing how Chelsea's attack changes with Neto in the side and the difference that he could make for the upcoming season. Once you start to compare Pedro Neto to Chelsea's current wingers, it becomes really easy to see why Chelsea have decided to spend the best part of €60 million on this Portuguese winger from Wolves. And here we have him compared against Mudryk, who's 23 years of age, 1 year younger than Neto, but he still had some time to adapt himself to the Premier League. And if we were to just scroll down and take a look at their heat maps and just compare them, I think it's really interesting to see how much more of the spaces Pedro Neto covers. So he can go down the right, he can go down the left-hand side, he can also drift infield as well, and it's that versatility that I think becomes really useful for a side like Chelsea. Mudryk is okay at driving down the left-hand side, but he's very one-footed in the sense that he won't really drive down this left-hand side. He won't really go down the right at all, and that just makes him a little bit more predictable. And while he is very quick, just like Neto is, Neto has an added edge of productivity that Mudryk just doesn't. And we can see that in his underlying statistics a little bit later on. So, Mudryk made 31 appearances for Chelsea last season. Pedro Neto only made 20 for Wolves last season. He played more minutes in every game that he played, generally, but Mudryk scored 5 goals, Pedro Neto scored 2. We've got to remember there is an 11 game difference here though. Expected goals 3.5 compared to Mudryk's 4.43. There isn't too much difference, only a 3 goal difference compared to 11 extra games played. That's quite remarkable, and only a goals per game of 0.2 in comparison to 0.1, so not the greatest of changes. However, it's once you start to see some of the more assisting statistics that it really starts to creep up in Neto's favour. Neto has missed 2 big chances, but he's got 9 assists in those 20 games that he played. Mudryk only has 2. That means he's got 7 goal involvements in the 31 matches that he played, whereas Pedro Neto has actually 11 goal involvements in the 20 matches that he played. You see where I'm going with this? 0.5 assists per game, 0.1, 3.7 expected assists, 3.18, 7 big chances created, 6 big chances created. Again, an 11 game swing in this. And again, it becomes a lot clearer. Successful dribbles. What do you want your winger to do? You want him to drive at players. You want him to be able to take players on at any given opportunity. 1.9 successful dribbles per game, 1.3. 3.3 ground duels won compared to 2.8. In nearly every single metric, Pedro Neto is just the upgrade on what Mudryk can offer. And on top of that, he can play on both wings. I think with certain wingers, in particular Chelsea wingers, there needs to be a larger focus on the ability for a winger to assist. And in this particular sequence, we're going to be taking a look at how well Pedro Neto does at managing to get assists and creating big chances for his fellow teammates. In this particular instance, Wolves are actually playing Chelsea from the last season. Pedro Neto is driving down this right-hand side, and it's the intelligence that he finds between Chilwell and the centre-back from Chelsea to be able to drift infield. It's this run that makes it so very difficult for Chelsea to be able to defend against. You've got a pass from Semedo that goes round the outside, and it allows for Neto to get on the ball in a channel where Chelsea don't want him. All of a sudden, you've got acres of space for Chelsea to need to defend against, and Pedro Neto is having an absolute field day. He's going to drive towards the penalty area, making sure that he's taking up that space that's being left in behind the fullback. Really intelligent play. It's not necessarily great defending, but I think Chelsea fans can take a massive plus from the fact that Neto is able to exploit the space that's offered to him, something that Chelsea wingers are not able to do, and the efficiency that he has to do this. Look at this. What do you notice? You notice that he picks his head up. Look at his head. He's picking his head up and looking for his teammates on the left-hand side. He's able to really slow down play for himself, take that moment, and then understand that he can play a pass. And the pass is definitely on as a player is going to come towards the penalty area. He just waits, and then he picks up his head and plays a pass to Nori, who gets an fortunate deflection, unfortunately for Chelsea, but Pedro Neto has been able to slow down the situation for himself, pick a pass, and then orchestrate a goal and a big chance for his teammates. Now, because it was necessarily an own goal, because it didn't necessarily go on target, Pedro Neto doesn't get the assist. But it's another major opportunity that he's created for his teammates by having the fortitude and having the ability to pick up his head and understand that there is something necessarily a little bit better than himself trying to go for goal all of the time. It's this selflessness and in-game awareness that I think needs to be taken so very seriously. Let's take a look at another example. Here he is out on this right-hand side, and he's about to receive the ball. He's going to create a 1v1 scenario between him and Thiago Silva. Now, he steps up into Thiago Silva's space and then is able to drive past him, utilising his pace, utilising his power. But we know that he's going to be faster than Thiago Silva. We know that he's going to be able to take this space after what we've just seen. But again, what we need to ask is, can he do the next part? Can he do the next bit? We know that Chelsea wingers have power. We know they have pace. We know that they have the ability to beat players in a 1v1 situation. But what does Neto do differently? Look at this again. We're going to really take a look here. He lifts his head up. Look, he's able to look across and see if there's a better opportunity for his teammates. This is an incredibly important part, and it might seem very, very simple, and it is, but it's something that Chelsea wingers do not do at this current point in time. They do not cross the ball efficiently. They do not look for other people. They do not look for extra chances. Pedro Neto sees that there's a player to pass into, and he's able to really find those situations. It just so happens he doesn't take this option. He doesn't find Ait Nouri here, but he continues to drive towards the byline, and in doing so, he lifts his head up yet again. In this particular instance, he knows that Matheus Cunha has made a brilliant run towards the centre of the penalty area. He has dragged the Chelsea defenders away from that situation and left Cunha with the ability to run onto a pass. He's either gotten a shout or he's picked his head up. I think he's done a little bit of both. And in this particular instance, he's able to square it to Cunha, who has the ability to really make a fantastic finish and, of course, score a goal. Pedro Neto has the ability to really take his game to the next level. If it wasn't for the injuries, I believe he would already be there. But it's his in-game intelligence, his ability to look up and still have that dynamite pace and ability on the ball that we know he's got. He could be an absolute revelation that could transform the way this Chelsea side goes forwards. We've spoken about the impact on a team as a whole, but I think it's really important to focus on Pedro Neto's individual qualities as well. So, he's got 0.53 assists per 90 in Europe's top 5 leagues, and that puts him in the 99th percentile against players in his position. That's really, really impressive. That's an assist every 2 games almost. And then we've also got 5.2 progressive carries per 90. That's being able to take the ball and drive with it, making sure he can occupy that space and then take more, making sure he's committing players with 2.2 successful take-ons per 90 as well. He's such an impressive player from an individual point of view, and in this Chelsea side, I believe when you move him out to that wide area, he's going to be able to really thrive on those 1v1 situations, spreading out the play. You know that Enzo Maresca likes to push midfielders forwards, having that inverted fullback to be able to have a back 3, and all of a sudden you're being able to isolate duels with Pedro Neto and having him go down the towards the byline and then drift infield as well. At the same time, we know that he can play on the left-hand side as well if it's ever needed. And at the same time as well, if you wanted to shuffle some things around, something that really did just come to me was that if you didn't want to have that inverted fullback, and if instead you wanted to have a player that really overlapped, say a Reece James perhaps, who can really utilise his overlapping capabilities, you could move Neto forwards into a more central role. He can play as a second striker, and if you wanted to do that a little bit more and still have a bit more attacking nous or a bit more attacking intent, this is something that you could really look towards. Yes, it's a little bit offensive, but it still adds so much. You've got the crossing ability from Reece James. You've got Pedro Neto as another option. You've got a midfielder that's able to drift a little bit more centrally. You've got your main striker able to enter the box, and you've got the winger to pick up anything else in case anything doesn't necessarily flow through the box as much as you'd like it to. All of a sudden, there are so many more options, and like I said, I think the flexibility that Neto offers is just so crucial. and it's going to be invaluable for Chelsea when going forwards. That tactical flexibility to be able to play him in a number of different positions, whether it be centrally or out wide. He's an asset that I think is going to bring Chelsea to a completely new level, and as I said previously, transform their attack and the way they go forwards next season. And there you have it, guys. As I'm sure you can tell, I think Pedro Neto is going to be an absolute revelation at Chelsea. But what do you think? Chelsea fans, how are you feeling? And are you excited about this latest signing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.